As you probably know, the mandate of the podcast is really to focus on Winnipeg artists and Winnipeg musicians, and to celebrate and recognize the work that they're doing. But every once in a while, I have the opportunity to talk to someone from out of town who either has a connection to Winnipeg, or is just someone I'm interested in that happens to be coming through. And in this case, it's someone who has a connection to the city. My old friend Sean Lewis, who is the mastermind behind Intergalactic Space Noise Weirdos Better Homes for Meaner People, based out of Ontario, was in town recently on tour playing a Winnipeg show. And I had the chance to sit down with him for a quick interview in the food court to talk about his long-running project, their new 12-inch EP, and a whole lot more. It's a fun conversation, nice way to catch up with an old friend, and it's someone who has been pretty dedicated to playing experimental, definitely outside of the mainstream music, for well over a decade. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Park Theatre, Winnipeg's premier concert and event venue. If you want to find out all the great shows they have coming up, go to myparktheatre.com.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Witch Police Radio, once again in the food court. I'm here with an old friend, I guess. I haven't seen you in, how many years has it been?
It's been over 12 years, 10, 12. Maybe.
Since you were last in Winnipeg, really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay, well, it's longer than I thought.
Well, actually, we had come down here and we did a couple bookstore shows and
right.
Way back when. And that was before we were even a two-piece, really. We were just kind of, that was when I think I was still using Discmans.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so it's been a while. I mean, I think the last time I saw you play would have been that show Dynamo did with you at the Albert, which is,
yep.
I mean, that's
decade
ago at least. Yeah, so I'm here with Sean, who is the frontman, creative mind behind
Better Homes for Meaner People.
Right, which is, so you're based out of Ontario.
Based out of Ontario, yeah. Basically, I started in Hamilton, and then when I moved down to Winnipeg, I started playing more live shows here. I went back to Toronto for a film job.
Yeah.
And then my bass player, who was out in China for many years doing ESL, he kind of came and joined me after that. And since we've become a bit of a collaborative project, we have various producers working on beats with us. We have occasional auxiliary percussion.
Cool.
And we all work in film, so it's whenever we can all find the time.
Yeah. And I guess like the awful question trying to define what it is you do. I mean, from my recollection of the last time I heard some of your stuff and saw you live, it's very abrasive, it's very, very noisy, very aggressive, and it's, would you consider it to be electronic music at this point, or?
Oh, for sure. Well, first and foremost, we do play along to backtracks, and
right,
we make no bones about it whatsoever, just because of the fact that if I wanted to actually put together a band to put all the backtracks on, we'd probably have 15 to 20 people on stage.
No doubt, yeah.
Impossible to tour, impossible to schedule. Also, a lot of it comes from, I really like the experience of, like, we still use samples that were recorded out here in Winnipeg.
Oh, cool.
I like going out in the middle.
From back when you were living here?
Yeah.
Right.
I just walk around with a device like we're recording on
right
now, obviously bigger and blockier. But, so basically, a lot of it comes from record samples with friends, record in different places, all put it together in the studio into a sort of hodgepodge, you know what I mean? And then I don't claim to be a real musician in any way, shape, or form, but luckily I'm surrounded by a lot of really good musicians who can take the noise and kind of contribute ideas and structure to it. So we've become more structured than before.
Okay.
We've also become a lot heavier, oddly enough.
It was quite heavy to begin with, though. It's not like that's. So is the content of the songs also heavy? Because it was fairly political and fairly hard-hitting.
Pretty introspective, actually. We have some really kind of nasty love songs now. Strangely enough, which have kind of gotten people's attentions, which have a lot of trip hop elements.
Yeah.
A lot of it's more has a lot to do with aging, and a lot to do with the different processes you go through as you get older and different realizations, and just a lot about cutting loose and what used to be on your brain at all time, and what seems more painful is less painful, and what painful sort of life variables fill in the gaps as you get older,
Sure.
and how things change, and what matters least and what matters more, right?
Okay. What do you think has what has been the motivation to keep this project going as long as it has? Because even before I met you when you were in Winnipeg, this was a thing. I mean, you've been doing this for...
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. We did have about a year and a half off at one point where I just kind of roamed around, and like we took 3 years on a 3-song vinyl EP.
Right.
And so that took some time. But what's motivated me, actually, it's been a lot of friends and coworkers and whatnot just saying, keep doing it until you have kids. Keep doing it until you have
That's what I did. That's what I did in bands. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because we'll get a phone call. Like, there were points where I just wanted to stop doing it. I'd have a bunch of shows lined up, and I'm like, I really don't know if I can bring myself to do this. And friends with families and mortgages would just be kind of like, do it for us.
Yeah. We want to live vicariously through you, right?
Yeah. And that's actually quite motivational. I think a lot of it, too, comes from the catharsis of it all. And when I see friends, the first things they really say is, are you still doing the band?
How's the band going? Yeah.
Are you still hitting stages? And I guess a lot of the motivation comes from the fact that, I don't know, even before Better Homes, like I've been in hardcore bands, doing sort of weird spoken word for going on over 22 years now.
Yeah.
So,
it's just a continuation of the same thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too, because a lot of those friends, it's kind of like, God, I wish I had a proper home and a family.
Yeah.
So it's weird, and we're starting to write a lot about that as well.
Okay.
Which is really fun, because I never thought I'd actually be writing about that. Your perspectives shift.
Totally, yeah.
And instead of being an angsty punker wanting to fuck the system, after a while you get to the point where maybe I'd just like to contribute to one thing being slightly fixed.
Sure, yeah. Is it hard to keep up that level of aggression as you get older, or is there more stuff to be mad about?
God, no. Well, like I said, I work on film sets and everything, so like I just get annoyed a lot with egos and sort of seeing production cuts and sort of stop hitting the tape.
It's okay. It's good. That's where those stomping noises are. Yeah.
No, it's basically kind of like you see the world shift, especially being a Gen Xer and seeing the millennial phase of everything. You definitely see the world shift, and you see how less patience people have, and how there's less belief in process. Yeah. And less understanding of...
because everything needs to be instant, right?
Instant gratification, and things like that start to irk me as well. Like, for instance, playing out here. Yeah. We're still waiting on paychecks before we're getting on a plane to go and see if we can find an Airbnb.
Sure.
And so it's kind of like, we're sitting there just thinking to ourselves, if we were 10 years younger, would we even be doing this?
Yeah.
Or would we just be fed up and annoyed? And so it's a lot of stuff.
Or maybe 10 years younger, you might even be more willing to do it without needing to worry about the paychecks and just kind of scramble for it, right?
Not giving a flying fuck.
Yeah, exactly,
No doubt. Yeah. And I don't know, I think what gets me going about it, and I've explained this in different interviews as well, the guy who engineered our LP, he's pushing mid-50. Yeah. He tragically lost a friend, and he basically, his mentor in sound, he threw his gear underneath tarps and called it a day. Then he came and saw us play, and it was on, and he's devoted so much heart, devoted his own money to putting the album out as well. Cool. And when I start to see friends do that are even older than me, and when I have friends come and see us, and next thing you know, 2 weeks later, they're calling up their old friends from bands, and they're jamming again, and then 6 months later, we're playing... You're
on the same bill,
We're on the same bill. I mean, I think that's really the motivation. And the funny thing is, the aggressive side of the performance, I'm not even that angry a dude. Like, if I'm in a bad mood, I don't do the angry thing well. I do it when I'm happy. You know, and the thing is, with Better Homes, we goof off a lot in our lyrics. I mean, like, my record label that I just started is called Spatula City Recordings.
It's a good name, yeah.
Yeah, we drop a lot of old Weird Al references.
Nice.
And like, we're going to be working on an EP that's actually a tribute to Freddie Got Fingered.
That movie rules. I love that movie.
Fucking right.
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I don't trust a lot of people that don't, so that means I don't trust 3/4 of Earth.
Yeah. Well, I think 3/4 of Earth just haven't watched it. Like, I think they hear Tom Green and hear the premise, and they can't handle it.
And it's Rip Torn's shining moment.
Oh man, best thing he ever did. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So, I mean, by the time this comes out, you will have already played a show in Winnipeg. You're probably going back home.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
Why come to Winnipeg now? Like, what is the reason for? It's been a while, right? Like,
you know what? I'm sick of Toronto. I like the clean air.
Yeah.
I like the people here. I love certain aspects of Toronto. I saw an opening. Anthony from
Adiaphilmide.
I
probably pronounced that wrong too again.
So he basically posted looking for anyone to come play an experimental based show.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, I'd love to, and he had just been on Witch Police, and I heard his interview. I'm like, this cat's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I can see definitely how you would fit together the two artists
For sure.
at a show. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, I really missed the place. I was here just under 2 years ago, so long ago. And I miss seeing a mural everywhere that hasn't been painted by a corporation.
Yeah, it's one of the unique things I think about the city. Yeah.
Everything. The music scene here is really great. And as we had discussed before the interview started, as much as Winnipeg will change, it doesn't change as quickly as, say, like a major metropolis like Toronto or even Hamilton. Hamilton's like been gutted. It's gentrification city, so it's kind of nice to come somewhere that like
the essential Winnipeg-ness is always still here.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
and the architecture is so beautiful. And I'm also curious because like working in film, they're doing a lot of filming here and stuff, and I'm quite curious as to what's going on with that. Like, I also want to talk to some people out this way and just see how they do things.
Yeah.
There's little union differences and guild differences from here to Toronto.
Yeah.
Even in Vancouver, they do things differently. I'm just curious,
So did you leave here originally just because of work? That was the main motivator, or were you needed to get out and go somewhere else?
I think I'd done my second winter here, and I was
that'll do it, right?
strangled myself.
Yeah, that'll do it for sure.
No, it was cool. A lot of it was work. I don't know. I'm a wandering soul, typical Pisces. I don't really consider myself to have an actual home base ever.
Okay.
So when I'm somewhere, I'm missing another place.
Right, and eventually you go back to that place and then miss the first place, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of felt like I wanted to go explore. Plus, my bass player was coming back to
that helps, right?
To Ontario, and we wanted to get the ball rolling there. And plus, a lot of shit I'd caused out in Hamilton had kind of blown over, and some shit I'd caused here hadn't, I guess.
So you're just constantly running from the shit you caused.
Trying not to anymore. Trying to look into the deep, dark abyss of accountability.
Yeah. is there a good scene back home, if you want to consider Ontario home, for what you're doing?
Oh yeah, oh definitely, yeah. We've been playing with like this one band a lot lately. They're a 12-piece called Martian Crisis Unit.
Cool.
And like they might as well be aliens. It's like the B-52s meets Dead Kennedys on crack, and they're so wonderful. I'd love to get them out here actually.
I think there's an appetite here for that kind of stuff, though. Like,
totally.
I think it wasn't for a while, and it seems to be coming back. Where there's like people want to hear weird experimental shit. Yeah.
I think, and there's tons of bands like that. Like this one person act called Bomb It from Hamilton, amazing. You got Lull, the electronic side of it. You have a lot of like we're lucky enough that we get to play with a lot of politically conscious hip hop acts.
Okay, that makes sense. I can see that fitting
as well for sure. And I don't know, it's kind of like, it was weird because when I left Hamilton to come here, the noise scene didn't want anything to do with us because they considered it too structured.
Okay.
So I come here, we end up playing with a bunch of amazing artists like Bench Funk, now known as Gen Funk. Dynamo, all that shit that was out here, and my timing was nice. When I went back to Toronto, I found a bunch of weirdo little noise bands that around, and so it's great. I think it's not only here. I think that there was a period where radio really did get to take over and satirize the hell out of everything. Yeah. And if you listen to a lot of the production, even like you listen to like say a new Rise Against song or something on the radio, like their guitars don't even sound like guitars. So I think people are really yearning real sounding production, real venues, unique venues. Because I don't even like to play bars anymore. I like to rent out basements. I like to do hall shows or like dive bars where they'll let you do anything. They'll let you transform the place.
Well, and with a lot of experimental stuff too, there's often the visual element, like Anthony's stuff. I mean, he's got the 3D things, the video stuff happening.
Yeah, we have a lot of projectors too.
Oh, nice,
projections too. But the thing is, unfortunately, we have an animator, which is weird. We don't have a drummer, we have an animator. Yeah. But he couldn't come out with us, unfortunately, due to like we all work in film, so sometimes it's hard to schedule. But that's got to come back. I mean, especially considering with the amount of venues closing everywhere.
Here, same thing here. I mean, the Albert, right?
Yeah.
Which is apparently coming back in June.
Crazy.
I heard there's some kind of electronic show happening there in the middle of June. So
nice.
I don't know. I'm meaning to find out more and figure out who the hell is opening and who owns it now. And
I'll get my hazmat suit ready.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll play the Albert in a hazmat suit. I don't care. I love that fucking place.
That place is great.
I saw so many good shows there.
Yeah.
And I took so many ice pellets in the face from Q and Hellcrow there because they really didn't like us at first.
Yeah.
Well, certain ones don't like us at all. But it's so many. Like when you're playing a show nowadays, you can look over and see the bartender counting beer sales. For
Yeah.
And especially with Better Homes, that's not what we're about. I mean, like.
Well, you're fairly abrasive in the first place, so I mean, the beer crowd maybe isn't who's going to be listening anyway, right? Like.
No, well, honestly, my big thing is I love it when sober people come to our shows and they straight up say, "Hey, I've been avoiding the bars, and I came out to see your show, and I'm 2 years recovering, I want to go buy some pedals," and that's great.
And then they go make their own thing, which is all equally cool, and probably ends up on the same bill as you eventually.
Usually
anyway.
better than ours.
Yeah.
Which is great fun. I mean, that's all it's really there for. If I wanted to make money off of it, I wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
And it's still fun. And to be honest with you, like you'll read a lot. I remember reading a Jacob Bannon interview from Converge recently. And he was like, "Well, it does keep us young," and I think he's onto something with that. If you're only living to work and you're not living to, especially if you've been in a music scene and you just stop contributing completely, I think there's an emptiness there. That
for sure.
I understand quite often you're putting it into your kids. I mean, you're encouraging them to be young artists or encouraging them to be young athletes. But at the same time, I think you always have to keep that one little piece.
Absolutely,
do something.
Well, that's why I do this, right? I mean, I've played in bands for probably over a decade now.
Oh, yeah.
But this keeps me involved. It keeps me hearing new stuff all the time. Keeps me learning about bands that I never would have heard of if I just stayed.
I wouldn't be here right now if I hadn't read that Witch Police interview.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And it's that 1% that a person can give. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It's that 1 to 10% a person can give, and it brings people together.
Totally.
Especially nowadays, we have to, because government funding's down, factor grants are down.
Yeah.
Like if you look at what Ford's done to Ontario alone, I mean, like nobody can get a grant right now.
Yeah, especially doing something as outside the box as what you're doing, right? I mean,
for sure.
Yeah,
like everything we do is funded out of pocket. I mean, and luckily I have a job where I can call my bosses and say I'm gone.
Yeah,
and they're supportive. I mean, I have one manager that actually recently did a remix that we'll be posting.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You know,
right on,
they come to shows and they rock the fuck out. You know? So that's always nice too.
So is Winnipeg the only spot on this trip? Or are you doing
only spot on this trip, and then we're going back to work. We might be involved in a strange Neoism festival in Montreal at the end of the month, and then we're doing a bunch of Hamilton or Ontario gigs, and then we're trying to push our stuff out Europe. We're trying to get out to Europe.
Cool.
Because I really want to see how people would respond to it out there.
Yeah, I think probably some countries would definitely have an audience for that.
Yeah, well, and less arm crossing.
Yeah, right. The arm crossing, yeah.
The whole Toronto arm crossing thing. Dude, you're watching Dillinger Escape Plan. What's your problem?
Yeah, that happens here too, though. It's like, people who are too cool to actually physically enjoy what they're...
Too cool or too tired, man.
Yeah, I can understand the too tired part.
Life's getting hard, and it's... Even some shows we've played and everything, like, whenever I book a show, I kind of set it up knowing it's going to be a loss. And the thing is, I don't turn people away anymore because people can't afford it. A lot of the true artists that are coming out definitely can't afford it because they've already made sacrifices for their own art.
Sure.
So it's just like, everyone come down, come out. You're welcome.
Yeah, so you put out the vinyl EP.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
We put it out on the 17th. We've just dropped it in some
Of this month? Or of last month?
Of last month, yeah.
Cool.
We did a small little tour with an amazing Peterborough artist named Garbage Face. You should look into.
It's a good name.
It's like it's like if Dynamo and Buck 65 had a kid.
Sounds interesting.
So we got to play some shows with them. We played a show in Guelph. We ditched Hamilton because there was some gentrification issues with the bar we were going to play.
Okay.
And we were just, whoa, no. You want what?
Yeah.
So we're going to go back there and play that, and we're kind of shopping around for a distro deal right now.
Cool.
And everything else. We've talked to some labels that have been kind of interested, but
cool.
You never know, right? Until it's signed, until it's out.
Yeah. So it's just self-released at this point?
It's just self-released at this point. And what we did is we were going to do a band camp for it and stuff, and we were like, fucking, let's just tour with the record. Sure, we'll go broke, but it's kind of like, the idea is, hey, you don't have a record player, but maybe a friend does. Go drink some wine with your friend.
Listen to the record. Yeah.
Listen to her.
So is it not available anywhere other than on the physical LP?
On the physical
LP. That's cool.
Right?
That's very cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, and it was just kind of like, can I get it on Bandcamp? It's like, go get a turntable. Go get a record player.
Yeah. Has that worked so far? Have people been buying it? Like, have you had a good response to it?
We've had about 8 different people actually go out and buy turntables to listen to.
Nice.
Yeah.
So hopefully that encourages them to go buy more records and support more bands like you guys.
Well,
and
and a lot of it's been a lot of older people.
Sure.
A lot of our bosses and stuff, most of the people that work in locations in film are audiophiles.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense, yeah.
And like, I can basically judge what team I want to work for based on their musical taste alone. and the cool thing about it though is we had a ton of people, like some of the pictures and the inserts and stuff were photographed by people on film sets.
Oh, right on. Okay.
By our managers and stuff. So when we bring it in and they open it up,
they see the pictures, yeah.
So like, it's kind of weird. We just thought, okay, it's a bucket list thing. We put out some vinyl.
Yeah.
We never have before, but our friends are just like, tour on this.
Yeah.
Do this. Get it up. It's
well,
really important.
I guess the cost and the effort involved in producing that, right? You want to do
so
something
expensive.
to get. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, we did it 180 gram, and it's 3 songs on a 12-inch, right?
Yeah.
So the grooves are massive. It's loud as fuck.
Probably sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds very good. And the thing is, what we did is we did the backing tracks and then dropped them to 1-inch tape in an analog studio, right? And so even the compressors being used for bass and stuff, this is gear from the late 80s, early 90s at most.
Yeah.
You know, like our engineer put a lot of time into it.
That's awesome.
Weeks on a snare hit.
Yeah.
Like we have a drummer on one track, and the kit he played on was utter garbage. It might as well have been a child set.
Yeah.
And our engineer turned it into gold.
Cool.
You know? So a lot of effort, a lot of weirdness on it. And like, it's kind of cool because the first 2 songs, you listen to them, and it's noisy electronic dance bangers, and then you flip it over and it turns into an 8-minute My Bloody Valentine style.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So it's kind of, it's a yin and yang EP for sure.
Yeah. Are you trying to get like campus radio and stuff to spit it? Or?
Yeah, we've been sending it out actually in Ontario and everything. We kind of rushed right before. It was one day down to the wire to have it pressed and go start playing shows.
Oh yeah.
So now we're in the stage of, okay, we'll go out and enjoy ourselves, and 3 people will have the album.
Sure.
And hopefully when we come back, maybe 6 people will have heard it.
Right.
Then we've got
maybe next time you got 10, right?
Show,
yeah.
Because that's a score nowadays.
Totally. Yeah. Well, especially doing what you're doing, right? Because I mean, I think people are tentative about going to shows anyway. So I mean, when it's presented with something that's not something they're used to, or it's kind of like, oh, I don't know.
Strangely enough, though, with the explosion of glitch rock,
that's true. Yeah,
bands like Battles and Death Grips and everything. Like, we used to get booed off of stage by kids that I'll see them now, and it's kind of.
And now they like it. Yeah.
Well, they sound like it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, that gives me a sense of pride. You know, it's because perseverance is key.
Yeah.
And just sticking out something you enjoy doing, especially when it pisses people off. The first time Better Homes ever played was in Hamilton with a guy doing samples, and some girl threw a wine glass at me, and my friend went to interview her about why she had done what she did, and it's out there somewhere on an ADAT tape.
Nice.
And he followed her around for 6 weeks trying to find out why she did it.
Did he ever get the answer?
Never. No, I don't want to know the answer. Well, apparently it was just she didn't like my psychotic rant.
Okay.
Apparently she did not like being bombarded in an open mic with a bunch of folk acts.
Sure. I can see that. If you're coming to see an acoustic guitar and then there's you with a bunch of vocal effects and screaming. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I remember the first time I saw you, saw you play live, which was probably that Dynamo show I mentioned, the Albert, and I didn't know what to expect. I'd heard, I think, a couple of recordings or something, so I kind of knew, but it was like from minute 1, it was just like an onslaught.
Well, and we don't let up. Some of our sets, we can do 14 songs in 25 minutes. Just minimal banter. We try not to even do that.
Usually go right into it.
We want to attack and leave. Yeah. And the thing is, logistically speaking as well, there's nothing worse than a band that only has 30 minutes worth of good material and they play 50. Like,
sure, totally,
stretching it out. Like, we were given 45-minute slots on this set, and I was kind of like, can I bring some friends?
Exactly. To fill the spot,
We'll be done.
Yeah.
But that's cool, too. A lot of it's just about, it's just really about getting people out there and getting people into something that they may not have been exposed to
before. Yeah.
And people are getting bored with mainstream music now. I mean, pop's always had that edge, but it's like since since they got rid of the snare in hip hop and replaced it with the hand clap, I mean.
Yeah, it's weird.
Can't see reflections in a filthy mirror. You wonder why life falls apart. You sit and question why they won't follow you into battle. You dream of fires with no sparks. Now I'll just wait here with bated breath to watch your teeth smashed off the floor and feed off the fact that you were once so popular. Well, that's just something time will ignore. So when it's time to let that freak flag fly,
Yeah, my relationship to like new hip hop is, I've been reluctant to have guys who do that kind of stuff on the show. I mean, I cover every genre on the show. I have a country singer, could have like a classical, whatever, anything, right? But like some of that hip hop stuff, I've had a few of them on there, the newer ones, and I made it clear from the get-go, I don't get what you're doing. I'm too old to get what you're doing. Explain it to me. It's not for me. What is the appeal of it to you and the people in their early 20s? Because like, I'm curious, but I don't get it.
It's interesting though. My bass player, he's hip hop connoisseur, right?
Yeah.
He's fascinated by the uprise of SoundCloud. And like,
it's interesting.
He's
it's just
following it, and it's the most ghetto punk rock thing to.
That's the thing.
up.
It is this DIY punk rock vibe, right? And like I don't
fucking crazy.
I don't like it musically, but if I liked it musically, they would be doing it right.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, like we're too old for that. But seriously though, right? I mean, punk rock. The whole goal of punk rock is to piss off the older generation, right?
Yeah.
And so they are succeeding at that.
Just like driving fear through this spike of Gen X dads everywhere.
Right, totally, right? Yeah.
But it's also really interesting though, because at the same time, what's neat about it is these kids do home recordings.
Yeah.
Put 2 songs out, and they have record contracts.
Totally.
And
they have tons of fans and stuff.
Well, it's based on their Instagrams too, man.
It's all linked into social media and stuff. Yeah, I respect the hell out of it. I just musically I don't get it. Which again, they're doing it right?
And you have kids, and that would probably make me a little fearful too.
Yeah.
It's like, will you take me to Texas and
Yeah. Well, thankfully, they don't listen to
see Little Pump.
Yeah. That hasn't happened yet, thankfully. But yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. So, do you think that obviously, again, the show will have already happened by the time this airs, but do you think that you will be coming back to Winnipeg depending on the success of this?
I love coming here, man. I love coming to Winnipeg. It's been calling for a while, so yeah, I want to come back here as much as possible.
Cool.
I also want to do something. It's been bugging me for a few years. I kind of want to plan a cross Canada tour, not even doing Better Homes, just going to poetry slams across the country.
Okay.
And maybe handing out Better Homes shit there.
Yeah.
And so
well, I guess you could book both even, right? I mean, you could do some live stuff like Better Home stuff at night, and then a poetry thing in the afternoon or whatever.
For sure.
Double up on it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just as long as there's some sort of brain matter still going through my head, I'd like to keep doing this.
Yeah.
You know, and do it as many places as possible. I mean, when I toured with certain Witch Police bands from back in the day that remain unnamed, but like it really kind of gave me a bug as to what you can actually do with just a couple ideas and how far they can go. Yeah. You know, and how far you can take it.
Yeah, as long as you're willing to actually just do it regardless of how well it goes, right?
You just fucking go and do it. Yeah. And to be honest with you, sometimes the more hesitation you feel and the more fear you feel towards it, that's your instincts saying, go.
Yeah, just do it.
You're scared, go.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
That's about it. And like, I wish that upon everyone. I mean, I don't wish, like, there are festivals where I've lost my shirt. I've had Canada Revenue investigate me. Because it's like, how many towns is your visa going off on at once and shit like that, right? And like, that part of it's hard and everything else, but through doing one festival, you know, next thing you know, you see all your friends are playing together. Yeah. And you can't go wrong with that.
Totally.
Especially nowadays. Everyone's so plugged into social media and stuff. It's like live music is one of the last forms of actual human interaction.
For sure, yeah. Because people, otherwise you're just doing it all on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and It's weird.
Sex with the robot or sex with your wife, you know?
Like, weird dystopian future, for sure,
What do you prefer?
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so you mentioned earlier that the songs aren't on Bandcamp and all that stuff, but if people want to find out more about, like, you know, what you guys are doing or hear something or...
Just a Facebook group, and the Bandcamp's going to be opening up. We wanted to record a couple new songs really fast before we even put this one on as well, just to have a lot more options, because I don't know, I don't know how many downloads you've gotten off Witch Police on Leaders, but that was since 2012.
Yeah, it's been up there for a while. I haven't checked that in a while.
Every show, I'm like, should I? And I put it up.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, I hate it. I can't listen to it. Then they come to the show and they're like, I still hate it. I can't listen to it, but I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's working out, right? Yeah.
So we're looking at that. What we're doing is we're working on doing a couple EPs back to back. We're going to do it in utero style, where it's just like minimal mixing, minimal, like we really want to get our live feel captured, because on this one we did a whole lot of multi-tracking and it was fun as hell. And when you hear the vinyl, you'll see how many layers there are and everything, but we also, there's got to be variation, you know, and we're not getting any younger, and who knows, so like we got to stockpile our material
totally
fast.
Yeah, okay.
And what's great about it too is on the next one too, we might be experimenting a couple full band live shows.
Cool.
We might be recording full band on just a couple songs.
Cool.
Long songs, and see how that goes. Yeah. So my goal eventually is to have it so that we can start a Better Homes show with just me starting, and by the end of it there's a full band on stage.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
To see how the sound changes as you add more people, right? Yeah. Cool. Okay, people should check out the Facebook group. And then there's also, Leaders is on the Witch Police site somewhere from 2012. Still on there.
2012.
I'm sure people are still downloading it. There's the weirdest stuff gets pulled up from there. Like, and suddenly it's like, oh, this thing on a bunch of downloads?
It's a wicked site. I didn't even realize it. There's like 30 people at work that I just told them about it once, and they listen to it every time there's a new podcast.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, hopefully they hear this one then. Yeah,
and Action Pack Living is our new EP. We might even be dropping a couple copies off at some Winnipeg stores.
Nice.
So we'll probably make that available here.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Who knows what we can do in 2 days? So.
Yeah. Well, you gotta hustle, right?
Yeah. Always.
Right on. Okay. If you want to hear more episodes of this show, you can go to witchpolice.com. All 380 some episodes are there for free download and streaming, going back to 2012. And you can also tune in Sunday nights at midnight on UMFM 101.5. So this will air, usually they air them months after they come out in podcast form. So by then the show will be long over, but you guys might be doing new stuff. Maybe you're coming back at some point.
Yeah.
So it's always cool that it kind of gives it a second win, because it's just like an extra boost for the artist who's on the show. So that's always cool. And I'm glad to see you again. It's been a while.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Looking forward to hearing more.
Yep.
Right on.
Now cut another pension plan.
Goodbye.
Invest in another Fortune
Money,
500
money.
company. Murder another abortion doctor. Protest another AIDS victim's funeral. Yeah! What's it all with the violence?
found. Oh, when you just back down. So when your soul was finally found. Oh, when you can't get found.
Now torture another hostage and burn another oil field and memorize the Dewey Decimal System and take your children to
Spatula City! Woo! So when your soul was finally found. Oh,